work week, and I actually
They made us make up for that Monday,
yeah,
boy.
yeah,
Holy
they did.
shit! I don't want no more 4-day weekends, bro. I don't.
You know what's so funny is like my Friday wasn't too bad yesterday because I went home early because I
Hmm.
texted you in error, but so the water there was a water main that exploded or something somewhere in Atlanta, so they cut
Hmm.
all the water off downtown. So they shut all of our buildings down. So we got to go home. Let me tell you. So my boss.
Ooh.
So I told my boss about it. I called him because one of the admin ladies in the building told us because I was actually walking out to go to lunch around 12 o'clock. And she
Hmm.
was like, "Yeah, we're shutting the building down. We weren't gonna forget about y'all." And I was like, "Oh," because the water in the break room wasn't working. So I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "What's going on?" So I called my boss, and we'll just say his name is Larry. I ain't gonna tell y'all his real name. That's how I said. I said, "Hey man, I was like, the water in the building shut off." I was like, "They're shutting the building down." He was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "The water in the building is not flowing. It's not working." It was like, I thought it was just Capitol Hill. I was like, "No, they're literally packing their shit to leave right now." This man let out the longest sigh I've ever heard. He was like, he said, "Just go home. Just work from home." And then he hung up the phone. I went upstairs to tell my coworker, bro, and I was like, "Hey man," I said, "Larry said go home, bro." He was like about to eat his food. He said, "Say less." He packed his shit up too. We dipped out.
Like, hey, I would have been like, hey, you might want to give Larry a call, but let him know that the water's out.
Yo, and I don't think he was like mad at me. He's just like, because it's always something. Because last week the air in the building wasn't working. They had to fix that big ass like fucking HVAC outside of the building because it wasn't blowing. It was hot as hell last week, like 80, 90 degrees inside. So
Mm.
he's just sick of it, man. It was funny, but I just had to tell y'all that funny story. So
Oh, God damn it. All right, man, go home,
yeah,
man.
he was through with it, bro. And it's not like it was busy. Like Friday's usually kind of slow for us, but it was funny, man.
Boy. Well, it's the opposite for me because Friday is the when my job have their big meeting. So everybody want to
Ooh.
bring their little caboose in my office. Hey, I was wondering, since I'm here, can I get
Uh, do, you,
a...
do you think you could put a Braves logo on that for me?
No, I can't.
Oh man, it's just funny,
No, this is how I
man.
be looking at work. I swear to God, this is me at work all the time now.
You just stare at him, just give him the
Mm.
DC
No, you
stare.
got to give them the wide eyes.
Oh man, it was funny, man.
I
Yesterday
love
was
it. I
funny.
love it. I love it. I love when people, ask the same questions. Now it's to the point I'll be like, hey man, you might want to take notes.
Get out, man. Just leave. All right, just get
Hey
out of my
man,
face.
hey man, you might want to take notes because I'm not going to keep repeating myself. Now
Oh
you're just being
God,
rude.
I
Now
love
you're just
that.
being rude because you don't respect me. You don't respect me, bro.
Oh shit, man.
I love everybody though. I just want you to listen. That's all.
Right. It's not hard, man. It's not a tall ass, but
It's not a tall glass to ask for. You know what I'm saying?
I thought you was gonna say tall glass
God of
ass, but
War,
right. Let's get started, man. Enough of the we just we
Oh,
just
all right.
we like to share stuff with y'all, man. So
This is a
y'all,
cold opening.
yeah.
Is that what they
Welcome.
call
Hi,
it?
this is a cold open. Welcome to episode 191 of the Super Weapon Podcast.
Wait, wait, wait,
Hello.
wait, wait, wait a minute. Wait a minute. 191. Boy, you've been off for the last 2 weeks. We had
Oh,
92.
that's what I meant. I put it in the title and everything. My gosh, man. My brain is mush. I sure did put 190. Welcome to
Maybe you
episode
should have stayed at
192
work
of the Super
Friday.
Weapon Podcast. Right? Maybe I should have. Oh man, how you guys doing today, man? Thank you guys for hanging out. Today's gonna be a good day, man. We're gonna talk a little bit about PlayStation today, as they had a showcased, a much rumored, is a big secret, a big open secret. We had a short showcase from Sony this week, which I actually thought was pretty cool. I know there was, as usual, a lot of mad people. We had a lot of upset humans, but there are some games I actually think there's a few worth talking about that I'm pretty excited for. One in particular.
Oh, don't say it. Don't
No,
you
I'm
say
not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm pretty sure you already know what I'm
it.
gonna say anyway. But
Ooh, I
so
think
yeah.
we might be on the same track.
So yeah, we had 14 games shown, man. It was pretty like standard. There wasn't like a lot of flair and stuff. They just kind of went back to back with the trailers and everything. Like I said, I overall I enjoyed it, and I think it's good to see that. Especially around this time of year, this is about to be showcase season starting next week. Of course, we got Summer Game Fest, as well as the Xbox Showcase and a bunch of other things. So we're going to be getting a lot of news coming up over the next few weeks, especially from us. So you guys want to make sure you tune in for us, man. So we can, we're going to be covering a lot of the news as much as we can over the next few weeks. Game releases, gameplay showcases, all that, man. This is my favorite time of the year. I say it all the time, but it really is, because you get to see the future of the industry. And I know things have been, pretty downtrodden with all the layoffs, studio closures, and everything like that. We were pretty doom and gloom last week, but I think it's still fun to I'm always excited to see what's next for the industry. And we got a little bit of a preview, not nothing groundbreaking for Sony. Like I said, it was 14 titles, but there's quite a few I'm actually interested in seeing. Just one more little bit of housekeeping news as well. We won't be recording next Saturday, the 8th. We will be recording live next Sunday, watching the Xbox Showcase, reacting to live. You guys want to make sure you
join us.
Please come and tune in with us, man. Bring some food. We're going to hang out. We're going to give you guys our honest thoughts while it's happening live on June the 9th at 12 p.m. Eastern. Come to twitch.tv/DariusTheArtist. Come hang out with us, man. This is going to be the first time we've done something like this. So I'm pretty excited for it. And we're going to have a good time. So anyway, Sony Showcase, man. State of Play. This was our third one we got from them this year. I think this was their best one so far.
Really?
I do. I think so. Like, out of all the games we've seen from them, I mean, they came out and already said that there wasn't going to be like a whole lot from Sony this year. They said they're kind of, reloading the clip, if you were, probably for 2025 and beyond. But I think they're still going to have a pretty strong year, especially with some of these games. A lot of them aren't exclusive, sure, but as we kind of spoke about last week, Sony they've kept to their strategy, and they execute it very well. And I think that kind of melts over into the showcase, as well as the co-CEOs gave like their ideas for the future and what they want to see. So I think this all kind of ties in. But before we get into like individual games and stuff, man, like I know you just watched it this morning. Like, what did you kind of think about the showcase? Were you expecting more? Are you disappointed? Are you as a former Xbox ambassador, man, how are you kind of feeling about what did you think about the showcase as a whole?
As a whole, I feel like Sony, they do really good at promoting on the things that they're working on. I think this showcase was solid. It was a lot of stuff that, to be honest, I didn't care for. It's give or take, right? It's some things that you're into and some things that you're not. But as a whole, I mean, it was well done. Well
put together.
Just well put together. Yeah. Even though it was some things in there, I was like, I don't really care about this.
Right.
But as a whole, I think the way PlayStation maps out their future and the things that they could have coming down the pipeline and keeping people invested into what they're doing, I think they're doing a really, really good job. I think they just keep sharpening the sword, so to speak, right? Like, these things tend to get better, or even it may plateau. It may be just like decent across the board.
Right.
But I love the transparency of it all, right? I love the way that they like, hey, we strategically I said that with like a lot of spit in my mouth. That was weird. But yeah, the way that they strategically plan out these showcases, like, I'm pretty sure they're not just like, hey, we got to hurry up and show them what we're doing.
Right.
But it seems like they have it planned out throughout the year to keep us invested, keep us in the loop. And I think it's good. Overall, I'll give them an A.
Ooh, pretty strong. Yeah, I mostly agree with you, man.
Pretty solid.
Like, there wasn't a whole lot for me in this showcase, but there were a couple of games that I'm actually pretty excited for. Like I said, the CEOs, the new co-CEOs gave like a kind of like a discussion, essentially, talking about just like the future of what they think, looks like, what they think the future looks like for PlayStation 5 and beyond. And we've been very critical of Xbox and the things that they their muddy vision for whatever their future looks like. But I think, the one thing I will continue to applaud Sony on is, they seem like they have a concise vision for what they want for their brand, and that's why I think they continue to win and excel even in these down years that we've had for gaming over the last three-ish years. It's something. It's just reassuring and great to see. I don't play my PlayStation as much as I should, but I never feel like there's not something to play. You know what I mean? Like there's always something that's interesting from their brand, or it's very cool to see. But yeah, there's a couple of games, like I said, I was super interested in. We're not gonna go in order. We don't really have to. But the first game I did want to talk about was what Concord? This game. So this,
Yeah,
this
talk
was
about
like
it.
the first one that they showed.
And it had the most
Um,
time, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, I think it was one of the longer trailers, if not the longest. It was like 2.5 minutes almost. So this game was not what I was expecting it was gonna be. But this is supposed to be like a 5v5 hero shooter, like your Overwatch style. If you guys are familiar with the franchise, kind of like Overwatch PvP
Mm.
game. And for me, I thought the game looked really nice. Like I was digging like the character designs. It seems like an interesting world. But I've just never been. And I don't know about you, but just never like been into hero shooters, like the whole 5v5 gameplay, like that kind of tug of war, matches. Like it's just never been something that's interesting to me. But one thing that did look good with the game was like the gameplay, like the guns, the shooting, the character abilities. That stuff kind of interested me. I don't know if I'm gonna pick this up. I think it's gonna be a soft pass for me. But it seems like Sony's kind of putting a lot of funding, attention, branding behind this because this game's supposed to come out August of this year. And one thing I did want to note that it's coming out on PC and PS5, which I thought was very interesting because this is something that Sony's, like the CEOs Herman Holst and Mr. Nishino have talked about. That they want to start to slowly expand their operations over into the PC space, which I think is very interesting. And I think that's the right call for a game like this because you want as many people playing this as possible. Hopefully there is some crossplay. I feel like that needs to be. Hopefully it shouldn't be said. But there should be. Hopefully, there's day one crossplay and everything. But there is a beta for this coming out in July. But what did you think about Concord, man? Is this something you're interested in? I'd like to say it's probably gonna be a soft pass for me.
Well, I thought initially when I was watching this, I was very intrigued and interested in it. I loved it more when I thought it was a Destiny ripoff. Well, I know that sounds crazy, but I
Yeah,
got major Destiny vibes when the initial trailer first started off. And I was okay with that. Like, I was like, oh, okay, traveling the galaxy, got this little group of misfits. I'm used to this little formula that they got going here. But then, like, midway through, when they started showing actual gameplay, I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I got like turned off. I was like, what is this, like a multiplayer shooter? I
yeah,
was like, I think I got to the point where you got. I was just like, yeah, this one may be a pass for me. In the beginning, because it seemed like it was very story driven, and I loved that. I was
right,
like, me, I love a good story game. So I was like, okay. But then when I saw like the shooting and the arena style shooting, and I was just like, it could be fire. Don't get me wrong, but I was just like, nah, I don't want to play this. Like, I was like, I'm pretty sure it's going to reach its audience. And I
right,
think this is what PlayStation was. I mean, they hinted at this, what, years ago, maybe like they wanted to kind of find something to add to that void that they feel like they have when it comes to the shooter space. Like if you
right,
think about it, outside of what Call of Duty and a few other games, PlayStation is very narrative driven when it comes to their exclusives and stuff like that. So I think I'm not sure. Is this game exclusive?
yeah. I think so. I think it's just PS5 and PC.
Yeah, because I think this may be their attempt to have a shooter exclusive on the console, which they kind of stated, like I said before, they stated that a while back that they kind of wanted to venture off into this style of gaming
Yeah.
from the narrative. Because if you think about it, the majority of what Sony's exclusives are single player narrative based games. So this is their shot at doing that, and it looks well crafted. It looks well put together, and I'm pretty sure it'll hit a target audience. But what I'm concerned about this game, what makes me concerned about this game is when you have a game like this, there comes microtransactions.
Oh,
So
100%. Yeah.
I want to see how Sony is going to play this when it comes to the microtransactions and add-ons, what different various character skins. I want to see if they could nail that without crossing over into that predatorial lane. Then I think they'll be fine. That's what I'm looking for in this game. I'm really watching that Microsoft. I said Microsoft, boy, I'm tripping. Microtransactions. I want to see how they handle that before I completely judge this game.
Yeah, and that's a good point you brought up too. I don't know if this game's going to be free to play or not. I'm assuming not because I didn't. I feel like that's something they would have mentioned with the trailer and everything.
They would advertise it heavy.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because they said there's going to be a beta in July, but that was about it. They didn't mention any sort of like free to play after that. And I agree with you. I think that especially with Sony's very calculated in the moves they make in the acquisitions that they usually have, and I look at Bungie as a studio that is coming to a close with the major saga of Destiny 2, and the final shape is releasing next Tuesday if I remember right. So
ooh, big day.
That's supposed to be like the culmination of 10 years worth of storytelling and everything. I just feel like especially like with them wanting to focus more on live service games like you mentioned, and have those kind of investment games outside of those single player grand narrative games, that do sell incredibly well for them, but they I think they want some sort of consistent revenue generation. And I will continue to go back to it, like Helldivers 2, I think really showed them that if done well and done right, that they could have something consistent like that. And this could be another case for that. And just like we were talking before the podcast, Bungie has been consulting on some, if not all, of their live service projects that are in development, and I think you can kind of see the fingerprints of Destiny in the design and the gameplay,
right?
And, which isn't a bad thing. I still think Bungie as a studio that has a great history of making great first person shooters. You look at Halo and then Destiny, of course. Those games are they feel good to play, and I think this will be a game that will feel good to play. But like I said, the hero shooter genre is just something that I'm not super interested in. But I could see this becoming a mainstay for them because Overwatch 2 is essentially dead and gone. Let's just call a spade.
Hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, so I feel like the industry is still looking for that kind of hero shooter to kind of fill that void a little bit, in the way that Overwatch 1 did, and how successful it was for Blizzard, which now, funny enough, is owned by Microsoft. So I think this will be something that they're like I said, I think they're going to put a lot behind this game, and I think it's going to perform well. It's just not for us, but I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'm curious to see where it kind of goes, because they did mention that they're going to be dropping like cutscenes, I think weekly or every so often for the game. So there seems to be some sort of like story to be had in the game, which could be different from Overwatch, because that's something that always kind of gets me about hero shooters. It's like there's so many, like, there's always these interesting characters and an interesting world that I just want to know more about, but you don't really get that from these types of games. So hopefully that'll kind of change it up or shake it up a little bit. Hey, what's going on, Darkstar? How you doing today, sir? So yeah, that's Concord, man. That was a pretty interesting showing for them, the first game that they showed off. The next game after that, we finally got confirmation that God of War Ragnarok is coming to PC this September. This one I think is going to be a no-brainer success for them, if I'm just being completely honest. Ragnarok sold incredibly well when it came out 2 years ago, which is crazy to
people
say
want
that.
Crispy PC.
Yeah, this is just something that, once again, they've been super focused on expanding PC. One thing I don't agree with that the CEOs were talking about when they did that interview was they're thinking that
Excuse me.
people are going like PC gamers are going to play these games on PC and want to buy a PlayStation 5. And I think they're banking more on the fact that I think, like I said before, like last episode or the episode before, that PC gamers probably that I feel like they tend to invest more into gaming than like a casual console player, and that's what I think they're banking on. But I just don't see it in my head. Maybe they have some data that we don't. They know something we don't. But I think this game is gonna sell just as well as the first one did, and it seems like they're kind of sticking to that 1 year and a half to 2 year, times that wait cycle for these games to come out. Like I said, it jumps on PC on September 19th. Like I said, it's gonna be a no brainer. I think this game's gonna sell well. It's not really much for me to say about
Yeah.
it. I think it's gonna do numbers for him personally.
I think that whole format that they're doing, right? Release it on console first and then wait a while, then release it on PC.
Yeah,
I stand by that. I think that's a good way to go about,
yeah,
you know, handling their exclusives. I think that's a good way to go about it. I would probably shorten. Nah,
yeah. Like you
I would
mean
probably
like maybe
shorten it
like a
just a
year
tad
later or
bit.
something? Yeah,
Yeah. Just maybe like a year later. But I really do love that format that they're using for their exclusives, and it works. It works. People buy it long as the product come out and it's properly optimized. I know they had a few issues with Horizon when it had
Horizon,
came
Last of Us
out.
remake, Last of Us One remaster, and
Yeah, but I think they're learning. I
yeah,
think that they have learned from those mistakes, and they're learning to better optimize their games for PC before they bring them out. And I think PlayStation, it's kind of, I'm trying to see, like, I know this is bad. It's going to sound bad when I say it, but I'm going to say it. It's like at this point, I'm trying to find chinks in the armor here. Like with PlayStation, I'm
nah,
like,
that's
because it
fair.
just,
That's fair.
yeah, I mean, I'm just like, it seems like they're just doing everything right. And on the opposite side of that, you have me on Twitter yelling at Xbox literally daily at this point. Still fighting a good fight. The ship is sinking, but DC is there with his flag, and he's like, "I'm going down with the ship, baby."
It's
But
interesting, right? Like, cause they've already said that because they have PlayStation Plus, their own
mm-hmm,
quote unquote Game Pass streaming platform. But they've already come out and they reiterated this past week that they're not going to put their games day and date, those new releases onto the platform. And at first I thought that was a mistake.
mm-hmm,
Especially considering just the overall quality of the games that they release. Like, we talked a lot about Hellblade 2 a week before last and gave our thoughts on that and just how Xbox just has this stigma with their studios that they just can't produce like consistently good games. And I don't feel like that with PlayStation. Like whenever Spider-Man 3 or the next Insomniac game comes out, I know it's probably 9 times out of 10 is going to be a banger just because of history on their side. But when I look at like an Xbox title, first party title, like I said, Avowed, I feel like that more often than not, that game's gonna be just okay. I don't feel like that's gonna be something that people are gonna flock to Game Pass for, or and this it just kind of bothers me like that we're here at this point now. You're already getting Call of Duty on Game Pass day one, that they're banking on that probably to boost their Game
oh
Pass numbers.
man,
But are
mm,
you are you
mm,
gonna are you
mm.
gonna try to push people towards other games on Game Pass after they play Call of Duty? It's
Game
such a
Pass seems to be their life raft right now,
they don't have a choice.
and
Yeah.
they're putting a lot into it. I feel like after those investor calls and all that, they was like, "Hey, y'all need to go with what's making effing money. We tired of the trickery."
Yeah.
So I feel like they're putting a lot into Game Pass. It's gonna be an interesting 2024 for Xbox for sure. But to bring it back to the state of play, because Xbox, you're gonna have your turn. Oh,
Yes.
we're gonna talk, buddy. But back to the state of play here. Let me see. What else stood out here? I was excited for the game that tends to hurt my hands back in the day when I used to play it.
Ooh, I already know what
We
you're
had a
saying.
little Dynasty Warriors. I was
Oh,
not expecting that.
same.
Man, that came out of left field, and I have very fond memories of playing this game with one of my military homies back in the day. And when I tell you, my hands would be so freaking tired, dude,
It's
from
been
playing this
and
game.
it's been a
Like
long time since we've gotten one. I just
a
looked it up.
very long time.
The last Dynasty Warrior game that came out was Dynasty Warriors 9 all the way back in 2018. So it's been like 6 plus years. It's actually it's gonna be like 7 by the time this comes out because I don't think this game comes out until 2025. But I was so excited for this game, man. Like I'm much like
Just
you,
with the
bro.
graphic
Like
powers,
yeah,
like just
yeah.
with the new gen consoles and stuff, and just to see what this game is gonna eventually end up looking like gameplay wise, just where they're gonna take it. I'm excited for it, man. I'm definitely excited for this is a classic, man. This is definitely one of those titles it's been around for a while, and I mean you can't go wrong with a good
Since
Dynasty
yeah,
Warrior
for
games, I
about
feel like.
30 years almost. It's close to 30 years. I think it's 27 because I think the first game came out. Yeah, it came out in 97 actually. I just looked it up. So yeah, Dynasty Warriors
And
has
this
been
is
around
not
for
coming
a
out to
long time.
2025. So yeah, I'm definitely excited. Like I said, I have fond memories of playing this game until like literally my hands hurt because there's so much button mashing.
Absolutely.
And it's like it was an unexpected plot twist in the showcase for sure. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
Dynasty Warriors, what the hell? I ain't seen this in a minute, but hey, PlayStation, look, let me tell you something. All right. This might be one of the best kept secrets in gaming. Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all could like add it's so much you can do with this to make this game even like it already has a core audience, but like if they add certain elements to it and stuff, this game could really, really, really be one of those games. I feel like
I think
maybe
it's gonna
that's
be a
just me
fun game,
speaking.
man. I
Yeah, maybe
agree.
that's just me speaking as like a Dynasty Warrior fan, super fan. But and then with the multiplayer aspect, like man, you know, me, you, the homies get on and kind of bust some ass, kill about 683,000 people, and that's just like one level. You know what I'm saying?
And it's funny you mentioned that because I really feel like there's going to be some sort of multiplayer element to this because you're playing as a nameless hero. So I wonder if
Hmm.
there's going to be some sort of character customization in the beginning. Because the
See,
name of the
that's what
game is
I'm
like
saying.
Dynasty Warriors Origin, and for those of you guys wondering, this is going to come out on series consoles and PC as well. So hopefully there is some sort of like cross play or wherever people choose to play the game. But I really
Hmm.
hope this game does well because I'm a huge fan of Dynasty Warriors myself,
Yeah, it
just
could
like
be
you
a good
said, man.
multiplayer experience.
Shout out to the homie Darkstar. We've played many a Dynasty Warriors together back in the day, man. It's just always a fun game to play with friends, and I do want this game because it looks like you're finally getting those really super large scale battles. That we've always wanted as kids, especially with the way that with as powerful as consoles and technology are now. So it seems like they're gonna kick that up a notch. So yeah, this was definitely something I was super fucking excited to see, man.
I expect to see a lot of shit on the screen. I'm
Yeah,
expecting to see a lot. It's gonna be crazy, man. I
yeah,
can't with these powerful machines. I can't wait to see the end result and what they're gonna do with this game, man.
yeah. I'm hopeful. I'm hoping that it comes out next summer. I think that would be
Good summer
a
game.
perfect summer game. You kind of push it away from a lot of those big fall releases. We still don't know if GTA 6 is coming out next year. But until we know otherwise, it is slated for next year. So it's probably gonna come out next fall. You want to keep it away from a lot of those big titles, and I think the summer is a perfect place for this, or maybe even early next year. I could see this
Hmm.
kind of hitting, it being like just give it its own space. Hopefully. So I really want this game to do well, so we can get more. Like Dynasty Warriors is definitely hype for me. So
Legacy game is what I like to call
yeah,
that.
100%, 100%.
That's up there with to me. That's up there with other legacy games like a Mario.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? God of War, stuff like that. Dynasty Warriors, like it don't make a lot of noise like those games I just mentioned, but it's definitely a legacy game to me. Because if it wasn't, they wouldn't have made so many.
So hopefully this does come out. like I said, so people can play, man. You know it's definitely gonna be a day one buy for me. So yeah,
Hmm.
man. There was another one that I was actually pretty excited about. Was the Ballad of Antara. This game
What a
actually,
beautiful game.
yeah. I will say this, man. You always have one or two games a generation that really heavily influence things going forward. And I got real big Elden Ring vibes from this game, which isn't a bad thing
Ooh.
for me. You know, this game looks like a Souls game, and I'm all for it. So this is like a brand new IP, you know, kind of like that dark fantasy setting
Mm-hmm.
that's supposed to be. This is like a brand new IP apparently by some studio named Tipworks. Not really familiar with anything else they've done, but apparently this is going to be free to play, which I thought was really interesting. So I don't know how that's going to work, but I was all for
And it
like,
looks so
yeah,
good
it
too.
looks incredible. Like it looks
It
like
looks
a
insanely good.
you know, the characters are super interesting. The world seems like something I want to, once again, you know, for me, you know, if something like interests me and I want to know more about it, I think these are the types of trailers that really kind of sing to me. You
Hmm.
know, down to just like it seems like you're entering like into a separate plane of existence. That reminded me a lot of Lords of the Fallen, where you have that lamp and you kind of forget what the like the latest Lords of the Fallen, where you kind of walk into like the upside down essentially. But this game looks super interesting, man. I you
Yeah,
know
there was
this
like a scene where they were like, it looked like they were fighting on a astral plane or in
right.
space or something. It just looked really freaking good. And it was actual like gameplay. So I was getting a little confused
Right.
between cutscenes and gameplay, which is always a good thing. I feel like that just means the game looks that good. So I'm with you on this one. I wouldn't be mad if it played like a Souls game, even though I'm not particularly big into Souls games. But the game just looks so good, I may just try it. Like I might
Oh,
just suck it up
100%.
and then that just made me realize with the resurgence of Elden Ring, I just really paid attention to how beautiful Elden Ring looks.
Incredible looking
I don't
game.
think that game get enough credit for how it looks. That game is beautiful, man.
Yeah. And so I just
Even some of the monsters look really like, I wouldn't say beautiful, but
they
I
that
mean they
dark
look
fantasy
good.
look is always it's always something that pulls me in. So I just pulled up the PlayStation blog post. So you
Hmm.
play as characters called emissaries, and there's more than one playable character, which I thought was really cool.
Hmm.
And you can play with up to three friends, which I didn't know this game was multiplayer, which is even more appealing.
Ooh,
So
a multiplayer Souls like game.
yeah,
If it's
man,
Souls like, that would be, yeah. I think.
I think that would be good, man. Like you know, I'm all for like the hack and slash type games. Like you know, I enjoy those, but
Right, right.
something with like, and I'm new to Souls like games and stuff. Like Elden Ring was my first true Souls game,
Hmm.
and
Same.
you know, I'm actually making plans to go back to play it. If you guys haven't seen my character that I created, I'm actually gonna post. I'm gonna post it in Discord actually, because
The naked.
we have a little friendly race going on between me and DC, which hasn't really started, but you know, we're back playing the game.
Man, because I was gonna get it on PC to record it. We'll talk about that, but it's still $60. I'm not spending another sixty
I don't blame
dollars.
you. I don't blame you.
So I just got to get my capture card working because I'm not spending another 60. But it's just easier to record straight off of your PC anyway,
Yeah,
and just like pull it from there, then throw it into Premiere and edit it and stuff. But we'll talk about that
yeah.
offline. But yeah, that game, definitely another looker. Definitely another game that I'm interested in. I
Slated
don't
for
see
next
how
year too.
people. Ooh, excuse me. I don't see how people. There was a lot of people saying that they were kind of displeased with this showcase, and I'm like, dude, I don't see how. Like, I don't understand what y'all were expecting to see. But what we were shown and how it was displayed was pretty good to me.
But
Like, I.
my thing is too, like when they announced you know, once again, people don't like to read online. When they announced the state of play, they came out and said that, you know, they're showing like third party stuff with their partners and everything, and it's going to be a shorter showcase. Like they didn't mention anything about first party, and they've said it since January. Like we don't have any first party
To
games coming out this
taper
year.
your expectations, they did it on purpose, literally to taper your expectations, and
Right.
people still just want to. I mean, if you have legit gripes of why you didn't like it, but for some of the reasons why people were saying they didn't like it, it's like you said, they explained it.
They've been saying it for a long time, man.
Like, oh, I didn't see this. They didn't announce this. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
Ignorance is
okay,
not an excuse to not read, guys. I'm just gonna say that. But
read
we're just gonna move on. So
books.
I actually wanted to talk about PSVR 2 because our good friend Beezy brought it up in chat.
Well, howdy,
And
BZ.
I'm gonna say like I thought that I really thought that PSVR 2 has been kind of like a failure up to this point. Apparently they're selling pretty well, but I haven't really seen anything that's been worthy of discussion until the showcase. And that game for me was the Behemoth trailer. It's made by a company Skydance Media, which I actually thought was pretty cool. And this, for those of you guys who aren't familiar with this developer, they made the Walking Dead VR game Saints and Sinners, which I think reviewed pretty well. This game
Mm-hmm.
actually looked really cool to me. You seem
It's
like
finally getting there, right?
yeah. I think VR is finally starting to kind of hit that point to where they're having interesting titles that the production value and stuff is going up outside of just kind of like those gimmicky or those kind of like party style games. Like you're actually getting
Mm-hmm.
something that seems like it wants to tell a story. And Behemoth actually looked pretty cool. Like you seem like you play like some sort of warrior who is walking through this old civilization, fighting all kind of monsters and enemies. Like the combat, I think was the thing that impressed me the most, which I didn't know VR games have kind of reached that point to where it seems like, I don't want to say fluid is the word, but I guess so. But it seems like it's not as stiff or it's or robotic, with the enemies you're facing and stuff. Like some of the gameplay and stuff looks really cool. I still want to get into VR gaming at some point. It's not gonna be this year, but maybe next year I'll end up like buying a Meta Quest or something because I hear the Meta Quest is good or the Steam VR. But
I want the Meta Quest. I've been looking at that just so I could watch like basketball games and actually sit in the
yeah,
stands. I thought that was a cool feature. Um, yeah, I've really been looking at the Meta Quest 3. So every
uh,
Meta Quest 3 with all the trinkets is going to cost me it's going to be a nice little ticket.
you're essentially
I
buying
already
another
did the
console.
math.
Yeah, like you're
Yeah,
buying
no,
another
it's
console.
more than another console. Like it's ridiculous. It's like $1,152 after, but you don't have to get what I'm getting. It could be a little bit cheaper,
Yeah, there's like different
but
models
like,
that you can
yeah, yeah, yeah,
invest in
because
and
you can
stuff.
get like extra batteries, a different
Yeah.
head strap. I mean, you see this freaking behemoth head of mine, so I'm gonna have to probably get the double XL head strap with the extra support on top. But y'all probably don't have to get all that, so yours may be like 700, around 700 ish. If you get, I think the bare minimum, but then I get mine also because I gotta have all the gigs. Like I think
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that
fair.
plays a big part in the pricing too, how much space you get and stuff like that. But I'm looking. I'm almost there with getting one.
Yeah, I'm not like a huge fan of Facebook, but I've heard nothing but good things about the Meta Quest 3. This
It's
this
one
one
of the
seems like one of the
shining
premier.
beacons
Right.
of hope in their little fiasco they got going over there. So
Seems like the
yeah.
premier headset that people like to play with, and there's a bunch of games for it, which I thought was cool. So yeah, man, VR seems like it's on the right track. The other game that they showed, I wasn't super into. After I watched the trailer again, that was the Alien Rogue Incursion. So I thought this was Isolation. Because I think I'm almost certain Isolation has hit VR. I thought it was just finally coming to PlayStation VR 2. Let's see, Alien Isolation VR. Yeah, there's like a VR mod for it. I think like not like true VR, like, but this one kind of looked not as interesting to me. Like I'm a big fan of Aliens. For those guys who know me, like I love like I've seen pretty much all the movies. I read like the comics and everything, but this one just didn't seem like it appealed to me as much. Like the initial trailer just seemed underwhelming. And I guess this is just kind of one of those. We're reminded once again that VR is making steps in the right direction, but it's not there just yet. Like it's not quite there yet. Um,
Right.
BZ in chat, shout out to BZ in chat. He says, people love the meta. My older family members use it. See, I didn't know that. See, so maybe there's a market for older people to kind of get involved with it. Like I do want to check one out. Like I think so eventually. I'll buy it probably before I buy an Xbox. Just be honest. But yeah. So that was there's just 2 games for VR, which I was hoping to see more, but maybe Sony has some other stuff they're gonna be loading into the clip for that. Were there any other games for you, man?
Um,
Anything
yeah, what's
else? I have a few.
there was one that kind of made me mad a little bit, but it was good. I was really excited about Silent Hill. I wish they would have went with 1 or maybe did 1 and 2. There's a big debate about, well, in these Reddit streets and everywhere else, I like to argue with people online. I feel like 1 was very groundbreaking,
Yeah.
and I just remember that shit being creepy as hell. But a lot of people argue with me and say 2 was probably like peak Silent Hill.
Sure.
And I played 2, but like nothing gave me that creep factor more than 1. Like, man, I just remember specific scenes. It was just so creepy, man. Like, I was stuck in this hospital, those weird moving mannequins. Like, every time I move and turn around, they would move. Like, and the way that they move, oh my God. And then when the town would transform into Nightmare Hill and Pyramid Head, like,
Yeah.
man, 1 was just amazing, man. But the remake, I wish they would have did 1 and 2. I really do, but I'm kind of excited for 2 just because I love like scary games, and I like what I
Yeah.
saw during the what they showed during this showcase. Kind of like what they saw. It's a nice little spooky game for October, you know what I'm saying? So that was definitely on my radar. I enjoyed that. And then I know you're going to get into this, so I'm gonna let you have that one. The other one,
Actually, I want to talk about Monster. I want to talk about Silent Hill. I want to talk about that for a moment because
we could stew on the hill.
I actually feel the opposite for this. Like I don't know if it was the trailer for me, but
Ooh, fight!
I feel
fight.
This one didn't. I don't think this was the best showing for this game for me. And I think that there's a couple reasons. I think it could be anywhere from just like how they kind of showed what the story could be. For those of you who've never played Silent Hill, you go into a scary town, you walk to the fog. There's only a few ways to get out. If you've never played Silent Hill,
And one of them is death.
yeah, the only one of the major ways that most people take is death. But this one it didn't really grab me, man, and I don't know if that's me being kind of like snobby when it comes to these like horror game remakes, or because I've played, because of what Capcom has been doing with Resident Evil over the last couple of years with their remakes. Like this one just seemed like it just kind of
A little stale.
Yeah, it just kind of fell a little flat for me, and I think it was like kind of like the character
Let me ask
models
you
and
this
everything.
though: Have
but
Silent Hill ever been your bag?
I prefer the more action style of Resident Evil, the more action survival style. I think that's what
I mean,
it is.
because that was a thing around the time when Silent Hill came out. Like exactly what you said, because you
Yeah.
did have Resident Evil, which is more.
It's
It
more
was
like
a
action
little
survival.
slight more
Yeah.
action. Yeah. Because I do remember this was a conversation when the Silent Hill series started, because there was in Silent Hill, like there's literally the survivability, like
I think, and
with
I
as
think
far as
too.
weapons, ammos, and stuff, it was a lot less than Resident Evil.
I
It
think
was a
what
hard
it
game to
is,
play.
and this Silent Hill reminds me a lot more of the Evil Within. The Evil Within wasn't like super heavy action. It was more kind of
Part
focused
one,
on like environmental
great
horror.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tango Gameworks. They're not here anymore, but I think Evil Within 1 and 2
We love you.
found a lot of inspiration from Silent Hill, and it's just kind of like what you said, just like Darkstar said as well. It's like, people usually only like one or the other. I've played a few of them. It just never really grabbed me. And I was hoping that this one
those
would, 'cause I do want to
mannequin
check Rhythm
nurses,
out.
those mannequin nurses are. I remember when I first came across that. I just remember so many cues in that game, like from when the horn, the little in the town start. Like there's so
I
many.
love the world of Silent Hill too. Like I like watching the movies. I think the monsters are super interesting. Pyramid Head, just like you mentioned, he's actually one of my favorite like horror monsters, because the thing that I like about Silent Hill, there's really like no true origin known about how the town started. There's a couple of different ones that are told throughout the games, but I like the mystery of the world itself. And I'm not saying
Mhm.
I want the game to be more action oriented or anything like that. I just think that I have to see more. I do want to.
I
I want to like this. I do. Like I want to check it out, but
I
I just
just
need to see more.
I'm living off nostalgia. I'm not gonna lie. So it just takes me back to what I remember playing, and I
Yeah.
hope that this game give me that feeling again.
Right.
Because I remember there was just certain parts inside the hill I just didn't want to do again. Like
Right.
you would have to go back like into the school or the hospital, and I used to just be thinking to myself like, I really don't want to fucking go in here. Like I don't want to go in here because
Yeah.
every time you went in there, it was like something different, or it was some new
Right,
jump
right, right.
scare, or like it was one scene you turn around and like Pyramid Head's just standing there, but he's not moving. Like it was always just something, and I'm like, I just hope that this can give me that
Yeah.
because I like being scared. Because anybody who know me, I'm just super weird like that. I love getting the shit scared out of me. So yeah, it fills that void for me.
And I think, and ultimately, I think my biggest issue is with the studio that's making it, Bloober Team. They've worked
Mhm.
on things like Layers of Fear. If you guys have never played those, the Blair Witch game that came out, Medium, which I thought was super fucking mediocre. It hit Game Pass a couple years ago. It's
Mhm.
2021. That game was just super. Like the concept of it was cool, but we just never. They never put it all together.
Man, that game could have been
Medium
so
could have been so
too.
good. Like the idea of it was so interesting. They
I
never.
think that was just a tech demo. It was just a long tech demo.
They just never put it all together for me, man. And I think that's my biggest issue with it. It's not the
Yeah.
franchise.
This is the power
itself,
of our
but,
system and what it can do. We can simultaneously create two
rendering
worlds.
rendering two worlds at once. Like yeah, but the game.
But you know what? Yeah, that. Who you call it did it better? Who was that when you was jumping from portal to portal, but it was actually fun?
Ratchet and Clank.
Ratchet and Clank, yeah.
Yeah, Rift
And
Apart
I'm about
was
to buy that.
fun.
I'm so you know how excited I am to play that game because I
Rift
just
Apart,
realized I got a PlayStation.
it
And I
was
was like,
one
I
of the
can
best.
play it.
It's one of the best PS5 games. I stand by that. It's one of the best things that shows the power and the technology behind the PlayStation 5.
So a good tech demo.
Yeah,
Okay,
like,
gotcha.
that game is fucking incredible. Yeah, man. So yeah, I just like I said, I just wanted to just talk about it.
So,
It wasn't. It's not
we
like
save
super
it.
fun.
Hey,
I want to see
I
more.
see you over there. He hype. And he ready, y'all, because you know what time it is,
No,
right?
so I did want to talk about Marvel Rivals because we were talking about hero shooters earlier, and I have to touch on this. Being a huge comic book fan, comic book nerd.
This is true.
I think if I play a hero shooter, it's gonna be this. And not just because it's comic book related.
He want to be Doctor
But-
Strange
but-
so bad.
Marvel Rivals actually looks like a fun game to play if done right, and I've seen a couple of people playing it. There's supposed to be some sort of demo close beta for July over Rivals, or Marvel Watch. Yeah, that's what we're gonna call it, BZ. It actually looks interesting and it's free to play. Like I do want to check this out. I think this is gonna be interesting. The characters look interesting. There's destructible environments, and with the range of characters that they could introduce, it could vary the gameplay enough for me that I'm not worried thinking that I'm playing a hero shooter, just because I don't like the way Overwatch plays. I'm just be honest. I play Overwatch in like the beta. I played Overwatch 1 when it came out for a little bit, and I didn't like it, but I'm just curious to check this out just because of the franchise behind it. So I'm super interested. Hi, sorry, my wife just opened the door and she's closing it. But yeah, I'm interested in it. I just wanted to touch on that.
In. The
I just
water's
wanted-
fun.
Yeah, you can come in. We're recording. She's bringing something in here. It's okay. All right, we'll talk
Yeah,
about
come
that
on
later.
in. The water's fun.
She's trying so hard to be quiet. You're gonna be on the recording, so she says hi.
The
But yeah,
water's
so
fun,
I did
baby.
want to touch on that before we talk about the last two games that I wanted to talk about.
Because I know he's just about to explode.
This
he's
is
about to
day
explode.
A1 buy from me, guys.
Hey, no. Get all the other games out of the way because this is the one he been waiting to talk about.
It does. Yeah. Okay. All right. We're gonna talk about. Astro.
Hey, you got the floor. ISO. I'm passing you the ball.
We're gonna talk. I do want to talk
ISO.
about Astrobot. Astrobot
what
2.
the hell?
I thought it looked cool, man. If you haven't, it comes with the PlayStation 5. If you haven't tried it, Play it. It's
Another
a
tech
fun.
demo.
It's a fun. I mean, essentially, yeah. The first one was.
The first one was dope, and it
It thought it
really,
was cool. You know,
yeah, it was something I could see like it could be one of those games that's for everybody. You know, for you kids.
that's what I was getting
You
at.
know.
I think this is gonna be like, because if you think about it, right, like PlayStation has always kind of had a cute kind of mascot character. You know, Jack and Daxter. You were just talking about Ratchet and Clank.
Mhm.
Uh, what's his name? Who no longer with not really with. Oh my gosh, it was like the Tasmanian Devil character. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on it.
Oh.
Somebody will tell. Crash Bandicoot. Oh, that felt good. You know, they've always kind of had like they've always kind of had those kind of characters, and I feel like they're gonna turn Astrobot into that for them. Where just like you said, this is kind of like a game for everybody. I thought it looked cool,
Excuse me.
man. Like I could see myself playing this like with my wife or
Mhm.
with my daughter or something like that. Like that's why I was interested
That was
in
my
it.
thoughts exactly.
You know
To
what I
be
mean?
honest, I was like, this we don't have enough, in my opinion. Well, for I'll say for like a PlayStation, I know Nintendo does very well
Yeah,
in the family space. You know,
exactly.
creating good family games. I feel like this is a nice little piece to add to Sony's resume. You know what I'm saying? As far as
Yeah,
captivating that family atmosphere. You know, a game that you can sit down and you know get the little ones together and you know y'all play it together and have fun. As a grown man, I loved it. Like I thought it was. I jokingly say this being a tech demo, but it did allow me to experience the PlayStation controller and what it can actually do with the haptic feedback. Because
right.
when I got my PlayStation, I only thing I had to play was the game that came with it, which was I want to say Ragnarok came with my PlayStation. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, you probably got one of the bundles.
So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I think little pieces like this. See, this is like not something major, but I feel like it's something needed. I like the way that PlayStation is putting these little pieces together in their whole portfolio of
Right.
greatness that they have going on. Like this could be the start of something. This people could piggyback off this and maybe make other family type games, and it's just only adding to the things to do with your PlayStation. I totally now that I look at it in hindsight and just look at it, and I'm like, well, this game could be just as important as a Silent Hill or what was the Concord. It to me, something like this can be just as important, you
Yeah,
know, as far as
it's
expanding the PlayStation universe.
it's cool because like they had like different character skins where they have different abilities. Like you know they had
Hmm.
Kratos, uh, Drake from Uncharted, fucking Parappa the Rapper, which I thought was so cool. Like there's just so many different like little homages to PlayStation history and the brand and stuff that you know I thought
Hmm.
this was actually pretty fucking cool. So yeah, I wanted to talk about it. You know I wouldn't have left off with I wouldn't have made this like the bookend of the show. I understand why they did, of course, but
Sequencing is
you know,
important.
yeah, this wouldn't have been. You know, the bookend for me would have been, of course, Monster Hunter Wilds. You know, let's just stop.
Monhan.
Let's just
He's
stop
ready.
beating
Look
around the
at him. He
bush. You
about to
know,
look at him, dog. He about to explode.
I was
Go
not
ahead, man. Get it
expecting.
out.
I
Get it
was
out,
not
man.
expecting to see a gameplay trailer for this
ISO,
the other
ISO. Let him
day.
cook.
I will say, like off rip, this is a day one purchase for me. If anybody knows me,
It
knows I
might
love
be a
Monster Hunter.
pre-order for him,
I
and he
might
don't pre-order
actually. I
nothing.
have not pre-ordered a game since like the Xbox 360. I may actually pre-order this, like, because I know I'm gonna love Monster Hunter Wilds. I
Get him
think
like a Monster Hunter cloak with a helmet or something. Might get a special edition
give me
up
a
in
little
here.
Palico plushie or
Oh, that
something.
would be
Yeah,
a dope special edition. Damn, that'd go hard.
that's what I'm
Actually,
saying. Like I'm super excited for Monster Hunter Wilds. Like this was an awesome look at the game. Maybe we'll get more gameplay you know, next week at the Summer Games Fest or Jeff Chella. But I am so fucking excited for Monster Hunter Wilds, man. Like, you know, this was actually the longest trailer. This was
I'm
almost
going
30
in,
minutes of it.
guys. I'm
But
going in with you guys. I'm going to be
yeah,
a
shout out to my
Monhunter.
boy Beezy and Darkstar. Like, yeah, just like
The
Darkstar said,
Mon.
the RE engine, like Capcom has just been cooking so much with the RE engine, man. And you know, this is gonna be like it seems like the first true open world or open area Monster Hunter game. And you know, the one thing I will say that will ruin this for me, Capcom. I'm talking to you. I'm looking in the
Mm.
camera.
Ooh,
Make this game crossplay. Make
crossplay.
it crossplay.
Crossplay,
Please.
or I'm gonna cross.
It has to be crossplay. You cannot have an open world Monster Hunter game and not make it cross. Oh, this is yeah, just like BZ said, I'm buying this on PC. Full disclosure. I'm just telling y'all straight up. Like I'm not.
If you
I'm
want to
not.
play with me,
If you want to play,
you better pick up a
like
PC.
this is on PC 1,000%. But just everything from, the environmental stuff that you can do in the game. Like it looks like you can, you have like that wire thing that you can use to pull either materials to you or set off traps for monsters.
Or some dong, my favorite thing to pick up in Monster
shoot some
Hunter.
dung shots. Yeah, get you some dung in there. A lot of people. I watched a breakdown of this trailer earlier this morning, and there was a lot of people were saying there's like a lot of homages to Monster Hunter 4. So some people are speculating we might get some monsters from that series in there, which a lot of people have been wanting for a long time. I'm all for that. I can't say enough good things about this. I'm so excited for Monster Hunter. I don't know about you, man. I know you played World. We played it a lot on Xbox One.
I'm down to play with the homies. It was an experience. I wasn't too thrilled with playing it my first playthrough, but sometimes and maybe it's just me or maybe it's just other people, but when I see people playing a game and having fun, it kind of draws me back in. Like once I see people experience with the game, like I've been watching actually all you guys from BZ to Darkstar to you to so many other people playing it and just having so much fun with it. It actually kind of hyped me up and inspired me to play it. So, and it's not a bad game. I just think it's one of those games where you have to use your nugget. Like you kind of have to sit down and really, really
right, whatever weapon you're using.
Because I think I remember when I first played it, my experience was bad because I mistakenly thought it was kind of more hacky slashy. You know what I mean? I thought it was like a hacker slasher. So I went in there with that mentality and I had a very bad experience. And I was just like, ugh, like, what is this? Like, I don't want to play this. But then when I really learned what the game was, and I was just like, oh, like you really have to put your pieces together. You really have to think about the hunt before you go out. Like you got to treat this like if you guys ever been hunting before. I've been hunting. Like you got to kind of get your materials together, get what you need. Like when I really figured out what the game was, my experience was a lot better playing it the second time. And I still got stuck, but I had more fun with it. Like I
think that's the big thing too. And I'm glad you mentioned that. And they're talking about it in chat too. Like community is like the best thing about Monster Hunter. The fact that you can play with your friends.
It is a nice community too, because I've met some very understanding people.
When I was streaming on Mixer back in the day, this game got me the most viewers I had was Monster Hunter. Like the Monster Hunter community on Mixer was so cool. I met so many nice people over there. And just like BZ said, the game looks like the look of the game like looks incredibly good. Like the RE engine is, man, Capcom, they can't do wrong in my eyes. Don't let me down. Just please. I don't care. It doesn't have to be cross save. Just make this crossplay. Please make this crossplay. I'm not asking for a lot, man. Like, I'm not gonna say it's gonna ruin the game for me, but this will be that's a notch for me, man. Like that takes it down a notch for me. Please make this crossplay so everyone can play together.
Now that I thought about it, it was one of the games that I played more fluently on mouse and key too. Probably one of the more.
That's actually interesting.
No, I refuse to play this game with controller. It was actually one of the games I played a lot better using mouse and key.
Interesting. I've never thought about playing this on mouse and key, but like, hey, if you guys are looking to play Monster Hunter, man, you guys can reach out to us. Reach out to BZ, man. He actually has a really nice community that he plays with pretty regularly over there. He's been playing a lot of Iceborne and stuff, and he'll carry you to victory. I'll say that.
Yeah, BZ definitely has some of the most fire content when it comes to the Monster Hunter world. That's where I got a lot of my inspiration from. I watched a lot of BZ playing Monster Hunter with the homies, with the what's the guy with the magic voice, and he has a crew of misfits over there with some insane builds, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they got a lot going on. I watched them guys just cook, man, like just freaking cooking
Such
monsters.
a fun
But
game, but this was 100% the highlight of the show for me, man. I hope we get to see more of this. So this game isn't slated to come out till next year. If I'm guessing, I think this game is going to come out in the first half of the year. I think it's going to come out the first 6 months because Capcom is just,
they on fire, boy.
their MO
Oof.
lately, like they usually will release their game. I mean, Resident Evil 4 came out in March of last year. Monster Hunter World came out, I think, in March or February when it released. I think Rise came out the first 6 months as well. So they usually kind of know what they want to do and have that kind of early access. So that early part of the year is usually reserved for their biggest titles because they sell well. So I'm super super hopeful that we get it earlier in the year rather than later. And when it does, it's gonna do numbers, 1,000%. So
For sure.
yeah, I think it's gonna be Q1 2025 too. BZ. It just makes sense. It just makes too much sense. So yeah, man, that was
Yeah,
pretty
and
much.
they've been on fire too, man.
Yeah.
Capcom, they can't miss, man.
Since this generation,
Them
man,
boys been on fire, boy.
No, let me take that back. Since Resident Evil 7, they have really figured out what the fuck they're doing. They figured it out, I think. And we'll see if they, if these rumors of Resident Evil 9 and Code Veronica are true, like those are another day one buys for me. Just 100%. So
Church. And shout out to the homie Far Cry, aka Trader Truth, man. That's the guy who runs with Beezy, bro. The man has this guy's voice is like it's funny because we all come up with so many different names for him just because he got like a really deep voice.
Yeah.
And so that's always a fun time cracking on him in chat. And yeah, but
Yeah,
definitely
DMC5
Monster
are
Hunter is going to be the
100%.
one.
Yeah.
That's going to be a definite crowd shaker when that thing drops.
I'll be honest. I think that might be my most anticipated game for next year, even more than GTA 6. Like I honestly think so.
Is it weird that I'm okay? Since we at the end of the showcase talk, I'm gonna throw this out here, man. It's kind of weird because as much as I'm addicted to GTA and GTA Online, I'm very apprehensive. I'm I'm watching GTA 6 with like hawk eyes.
Nah,
I feel like they're gonna do something stupid.
I'm gonna tell you why. It's because the expectations are too high for the game.
It's almost like a Cardi B album.
GTA,
like we
GTA
never
5,
getting another one.
Yeah, 5 has been around for 11 years at this point. It'll be 12 years before 6 comes out. Yeah, the expectations are through the roof. And I think that's what it is,
I'm
honestly.
with BZ too. I don't, and people keep calling me a liar. My cousin cussed me out, called me a liar. I don't think I'm gonna buy GTA 6 when it first released.
Honestly, I'm with y'all on that. Because if
I'm not buying it for 84 consoles. I totally agree with you, BZ. I've been saying this to my cousin. He's like, "You're a effing lie. You're gonna be the first one in line." I'm like, no, there's other shit to play. I'm not in a rush.
My whole thing is this: like, I don't even think online is gonna launch same day.
It's not launching. No, it's not. It's not. It's not launching until like 2 months or something after the game drops.
BZ, I own 3. I bought it 3 times. I bought GTA 5 3 times.
I got it. Wait.
360. I feel you. I bought on 360, Xbox One, and then I bought it on PC.
4. I got it 4. I got 4 copies.
So
I'm not proud of that at all.
They definitely got their fucking money. So I think honestly, man, I think I'm gonna wait. I mean, because you think about it, like, and we're about to get up out of here, guys, because podcast going too long. But so many people are gonna be playing that. Like, as a streamer and a content creator, you're insane trying to get in on that. You're insane. Like, there's gonna be,
and I'm not a content creator, so I don't care about, because everybody's gonna want to do first playthrough, first clip. I actually want to enjoy the game,
right?
And that's one thing that I was telling BZ. I was like, what I respect about you as a content creator is you move at your own pace. I always tell people that. I preach that shit a lot. That's why, like, I really fuck with Miranda. Like, she kind of plays what she want to play when she plays it. Like, just seeing her experience with Batman and her having so much fun.
We gotta get Miranda on a fucking podcast, man. She's one of
the that would be hilarious. Yeah, she plays at her own pace. Just watching her enjoy the whole Batman Arkham series. Like BZ said, it's never too late. I think when it comes to the personality of the person playing the game, Like just watching you finish. We was watching BZ the other day. Just finished Spider-Man,
Yep.
and it was still as good as if he would have played it when it first came out. Like
Still is
I love
entertaining.
when people, yeah, I love when people create at their own pace instead of trying to catch waves. And there's going to be a lot of that with GTA. Like everyone's going to be
It's gonna,
rushing to get clips and
bro.
oh, did you see this? Oh, first this, Boss for the Win probably going to explode in his
I'm gonna make a prediction that I think there's gonna be I think there's gonna be around like 1.2 million people watching that game. Like the viewership. I think that game's gonna be over 1 million viewers, and that's not too many games on Twitch that have done that. I think that game's gonna hit over 1 million. That's my prediction.
I co-sign that.
So.
It's definitely one of those genre defining games that like Rockstar, this ain't their first rodeo. Every time they drop a GTA, it shuts down the world. Like,
yeah, I think there's gonna be over 1 million people watching that game on Twitch.
but like
and
BZ said, burning yourself out trying to be the first to pump out every little bit of content, because I think it's always quality over quantity. Like,
yeah,
you can create real quality pieces of GTA 6, put it out, and then it's gonna do what it do. Like, it's gonna move how it moves, because I would rather see something with quality than search and you see billions and billions of just people on stream just throwing up clips real quick, because that's what happens. Like, there's no editing, nothing. Like, sometimes people just really want to be
Twitter, TikTok, Instagram are gonna be nothing but GTA feeds for probably about a month. So just be prepared for that.
Yep.
Just be prepared, guys.
So just keep that in mind.
So I think that's it, man. Yeah, I think that's a good place to rapper and dapper, man. Thank you guys for hanging out for episode 192 of
Put
the
it on a shirt
podcast, man. I appreciate y'all for being here. We appreciate y'all for being here. Just one more reminder, guys. We are not recording on June the 8th. We're recording June the 9th.
I got you, BZ.
We can talk about that during the stream, BZ, because I actually haven't played it yet, but I do have thoughts on X. I do have thoughts. We can talk about it.
Stay tuned.
So we're gonna watch the Xbox showcase live. You guys want to be there? That's how we're gonna record essentially next week. Live reactions to the showcase, honest thoughts,
live
man.
Watch party.
It's gonna be our first time doing that. So bring some food, snacks. We're gonna have a good time, man. We want y'all to be there and chat, hanging out with us. This is gonna be the best place to be to watch a lot of the showcase news and everything. So they're gonna put
a lot of me cussing.
Sarah Bond's gonna fall on the sword, and I'm gonna be sad.
A lot. If you want to see some comical reactions, tune in, because I'm for the shits.
Yeah. So that's gonna
straight
be,
no chaser.
That's gonna be a time there. But I don't really have much, man. I appreciate y'all for being here, man. You guys can find me everywhere. Darius the Artist, Twitter, Darius the Artist, where he is a 3. DC, take us home. Okay, that dance he's doing. Jesus
this is my
Christ.
Spider-Man. I call it the Spidey dance.
We do need a Metro.
I actually gotta hurry up because I'm literally about to piss myself.
Same.
Yeah, I don't have too much shout outs, but I'm really excited to try this new format that we're doing next week. We will be live podcasting. We will be live podcasting with live reactions from Sarah Bond getting pie in her face. I'll be there. I'm gonna try to keep it classy, but I'm gonna keep it real.
We love you, Sarah.
We love her, but we have to be real, but we're gonna keep it classy. We're gonna be honest as we can be here. All right. That's how we rolling. And that's all I have, because I have to use the bathroom. So you guys have a great Saturday, good weekend as always. We appreciate you guys stopping by, having fun, sharing all the posts. The likes are going up on the YouTube again. I appreciate that, guys. Keep pumping out them shares and likes, notifications, all that lovely stuff. Thank you, guys. I'm out.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next Sunday. Sunday fun day. Peace.
Get it.